Hey there, future Canadians. Dreaming of swapping out that temporary status for, the keys to the whole Great White North.
Yeah,
Well, buckle up because today we are diving deep into the Canadian Experience class, the CEC for short.
you got it.
We've got a mountain of government websites right here, immigration guides, all sorts of expert insights too, ready to be explored.
It's really amazing. Canada really rolls out the red carpet for those who've already kind of gotten a taste of what working life is like here.
Yeah,
The CEC is like a big signal, that Canada values what people who've chosen to build their careers here can contribute.
it's almost like a fast track to calling Canada home,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
But where do we even begin with all this info?
Well, let's start with the basics. The CEC is like a pathway, to permanent residency. It's designed just for people who've already been working in Canada.
Okay.
Think of it like a bridge between temporary status and putting down roots.
So not just like visiting for a ski trip,
Right.
but actually building a life here.
Exactly.
That's got to be exciting for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
But I imagine it's not just as simple as saying like, hey, I worked here, let me stay.
Yeah, you're right. There are some specific requirements
Okay,
that you got to meet. But first, let's zoom out a little bit, see where the CEC fits into the big picture.
okay.
It's actually part of Canada's express entry system,
Oh,
which is like, if you want to think about it, it's like a streamlined immigration process for skilled workers.
express entry. So does that mean it's like super fast?
It can be.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in fact, the CEC boasts some of the fastest processing times, actually, within express entry.
Really?
Sometimes as quick as 3, maybe 4 months.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah,
That's got to be music to the ears of anyone who's been dealing with all the complexities of immigration.
right.
No more years of waiting.
Exactly.
But why is the CEC so much faster than other programs?
Well, one of the big reasons is that immigrants with Canadian work experience have already shown they can fit right into the Canadian job market.
Right.
They've got the skills, they've got the experience, the networks.
Yeah.
They can really just hit the ground running, which makes them super desirable candidates.
Makes total sense. Canada wants people who can contribute right away.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, how does having Canadian work experience actually speed up the process?
Well, it comes down to this thing called the Comprehensive Ranking System, or CRS.
Okay.
Basically, it's a point system they use to rank people, candidates, in the express entry pool. The higher your score, the better your chances of getting invited to apply for permanent residency.
So it's like a competition where everyone's trying to rack up as many points as possible.
Kinda, yeah. And having Canadian work experience gives you a real leg up in the CRS because it shows you're not just familiar with the Canadian workplace, you've thrived in it.
I bet that peace of mind is priceless.
Oh, for sure.
But those looking to build a stable future for themselves, their family.
Right.
But let's get back to who this program is really perfect for. We've mentioned people with Canadian work experience, but can you give us some more specific examples?
Absolutely. So the CEC is a total game changer for temporary foreign workers, the ones who've been working hard contributing to the Canadian economy,
Right.
and now they want to stay permanently. It's also awesome for international student graduates who decided to kickstart their career in Canada after finishing their studies.
So it's like Canada saying, hey, you've invested in us, now let us invest in you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a pretty sweet deal. But I'm guessing this isn't an option for someone who's never even stepped foot in Canada?
You're right. Recent Canadian work experience is a must-have
Okay.
for the CEC. It's really the foundation of the program.
So let's say someone's listening and they're thinking, hey, I might actually qualify for this.
Right.
What are the essential boxes you need to check to be eligible for the CEC?
Okay, the must-haves are actually pretty straightforward. First off, you need at least 12 months of full-time or the same amount, the equivalent of part-time skilled work experience in Canada. And this experience has to be from the last 3 years.
So someone who's been working in Canada for the past 2 years, they're probably on the right track.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Now, besides proving they can handle a Canadian winter, they also got to show they can communicate effectively. You need to show you're proficient in English or French.
Makes sense. Communication is key.
Yeah, right.
Is there a restriction on where in Canada they can settle?
Good question. The CDC is for people who want to live anywhere in Canada except Quebec.
Okay.
Quebec has its own immigration program, so if you're picturing yourself with Montreal bagels and poutine as a permanent resident, you gotta look at their options.
Okay, so we've got work experience,
Yep.
language skills, location.
Uh-huh.
What else?
All right, here's something that might surprise you, and it's a big one. Unlike other immigration programs, you don't need to show proof of funds for the CEC.
Wait, Really? That's huge. For our listeners who might not know, can you explain, like, what proof of funds even is and why not needing it is such a big advantage?
Sure. Proof of funds basically means showing the Canadian government you have enough money saved up to support yourself when you first arrive.
Right.
It's just to ensure newcomers can establish themselves.
Okay.
But for the CEC, Canada recognizes that, hey, if you've been working here, you're already integrated into the economy.
Right, right.
You're earning and you're likely pretty financially stable, so they don't even need that.
It's like they're saying your Canadian work experience shows you can support yourself.
Yeah.
That's powerful. But what about those who, might have left Canada after working here? Are they out of luck?
Not at all. There's actually another great thing about the CEC. Even if you're not in Canada right now, you can still apply as long as you meet that work experience requirement and apply within 3 years of leaving your Canadian job. You're still good.
So let's say someone worked in Canada for 2 years, went back to their home country, and it's been like just a year.
Yep.
They could still be eligible.
Exactly. That flexibility is pretty awesome, and it really opens up a lot of possibilities for people. Some might have had to leave for all kinds of reasons.
That's great news for those who might have thought their Canadian dream was over.
Uh-huh.
So we've established that recent Canadian work experience is really like the heart and soul of the CEC.
For sure.
But I have a feeling it's not just any job that qualifies.
You're right. It has to be skilled work that fits under these specific National Occupational Classification Codes.
Okay.
Or NOC codes.
NOC codes.
And specifically, your job needs to be in tier category 0, 1, 2, or 3.
Hold on. Tier categories. I'm sure some of our listeners are like, what? Can we unpack that a bit?
Of course. Imagine you walk into this massive job fair, and all the jobs are organized by the skills you need.
Okay.
That's kind of what tier does.
Okay.
It stands for training, education, experience, and responsibilities.
All right.
It's a system Canada uses to categorize jobs from high skill to low skill.
So is it like levels in a video game? Like the higher the tier level, the more skills and experience you need?
That's a really good way to think about it. And for the CEC, you got to be in one of the top 4 levels. Tier 0, 1, 2, or 3.
So I'm picturing like doctors, engineers, maybe even podcast hosts, right?
You got it. Those are all skilled professions, the ones that usually fall under those tier categories.
Okay.
But what about like jobs that might not need a university degree, but still involve some specialized skills?
Right, like skilled trades.
Exactly. Like think electricians, plumbers, chefs. They all need specific training, right? And they fit under those tier categories for the CEC.
Okay, that's making a lot more sense.
Good.
But how does someone figure out their tier category? Like, do they have to go on a quest?
Thankfully, it's way easier than a quest. Canada's got this handy-dandy website where you just search your job title and bam, there's your NOC code and your tier category.
That's a relief. No need to battle any mythical creatures.
Right.
But once someone knows their tier category and they check that their job matches up with the CEC, what's next?
Well, that's when things were really exciting because then we start looking at how to boost your chances of getting picked. Remember that point system, the CRS?
Uh-huh.
It's not just about checking off boxes. It's about really showing off your strengths, so you stand out.
Ooh, sounds like we're about to get into some strategy. I'm all ears.
Yeah.
But for now, we'll have to pause our deep dive. Don't worry, we'll be back soon in part 2 to explore all the ins and outs of the comprehensive ranking system and how you can boost your score to, reach those Canadian horizons.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Welcome back, explorers. Ready to go even deeper into this Canadian experience class thing?
Absolutely. Last time we were talking about those NOC codes and the tier categories,
Right.
remember? It's like Canada's way of sorting out jobs based on like skill level, and to get into the CEC, your job has got to match a specific code and be in those top tier categories.
Right. It's like that secret code that unlocks the door to Canadian PR.
Exactly.
But, gotta be honest, I'm still a bit fuzzy on how those NOC codes actually work.
Okay, let me try and make it crystal clear. Imagine we're playing, like, guess the job.
Okay.
I say, I analyze data, make reports, you say.
Data analyst.
Bingo. In Canada, each job has this super specific NOC code. It describes, like, everything about the job. The duties, the skills, even how much responsibility you have.
So instead of saying I'm a whatchamacallit who does thingamajigs, you'd say,
Exactly. I'm an NOC code 2172 Information Systems Analyst.
much clearer.
Way clearer. It helps the government see what you're good at and if your skills match up with what Canada needs.
Makes sense. But where do you even find these magical NOC code? Is there some secret vault hidden in the Canadian wilderness?
Thankfully, way easier than that. The Government of Canada has a website, super user-friendly. You just search your job title, boom, OSH NOC code.
Phew. No decoding ancient maps or solving riddles.
No riddles required. Once you see your job matches an NOC code in those eligible tier categories, you're golden.
Okay, great.
But don't forget that other big piece of the puzzle. You got to be good with languages.
Right, right. We talked about that a bit earlier. It's not enough to just say, hey, I'm pretty good at English or French, right?
Nope. You need proof. You got to take a language test. For English, IELTS is common, and for French, there's TF.
And these aren't just a walk in the park, I'm guessing?
Not exactly. They test your real-life skills, reading, writing, listening, speaking. And you need a certain score to hit that Canadian language benchmark, CLB.
Okay, CLB. So is that like a rating system for how good your language skills are?
Right on. It's a way to compare language skills from different tests, and for most jobs that fit the CEC, you'll need CLB 7 or higher. Basically, it means you can chat easily in daily life and at work, no problem.
Right. You wouldn't want to get lost in translation when it comes to important stuff, right? Like job interviews or, ordering poutine.
Exactly. Got to make sure you can fit right in. But let's say you nailed your language test. Your NOC code is perfect. What else can you do to really boost your chances of getting picked for the CEC?
Now we're talking. The secret sauce. I'm ready for some strategy.
All right, remember that comprehensive ranking system, the CRS. It's not just pass or fail. Every point matters. So let's see how we can max out that CRS score.
Okay, we know things like age, education, work experience play a role. Any insider tips, secret weapons to make an application really stand out?
Not exactly secret weapons, but definitely some smart moves you can make. One of the best. Keep working on your language skills. Even if you already hit that minimum CRB, a higher score means more points.
So it's worth pushing yourself on that language test.
Big time. It's an investment in your future. And speaking of investments, how about more education? Getting another degree or diploma in Canada, especially in a field that's in high demand, that can be huge for your CRS score.
So going back to school isn't just for personal growth. It could actually help with immigration, too.
Yep, it shows you're serious about Canada, about building your life here, and you're learning skills Canada really needs. Now about work experience. The more skilled work you have, both in Canada and abroad, the higher your CRS score climbs.
So like someone with 5 years of experience in their field would have a better shot than someone with only 2 years.
Exactly. And don't forget about experience from back home. Even though CEC is about Canada, a strong work history from your country shows what you can do, helps you overall score.
It's like saying, hey, Canada, I've got a proven track record and I'm bringing my A game. But what about those who are new to Canada? They haven't had a lot of time to build up Canadian experience.
That's where age and education can help. Younger applicants usually get more points. Same with higher education like a master's or PhD.
So even if you're just starting out, a good education can still give you a boost.
For sure. And here's something interesting. If your spouse or partner is also skilled and takes that language test, their score can get added to yours. Could be a big bump.
Wow, teamwork makes the dream work. So it's not just about individual achievements, it's about how you can support each other as a couple.
Exactly. Building that strong foundation for your future in Canada together. Speaking of strong foundations, remember those provincial nominee programs, the PNPs?
Oh yeah, the golden tickets.
Right. If you get a provincial nomination, you're practically guaranteed an invitation to apply, an ITA, for permanent residency.
So it's worth looking into PNPs, even while you're going for the CEC.
Oh, yeah. Many provinces have PNP streams that work with the CEC. They're looking for people with Canadian work experience, the skills they need. And it's like they're saying, come on, we want you here.
So it's like having a whole cheering section. The government, the provinces, everyone's rooting for you to succeed. But with so many options, so much strategy, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Where can people go for help with this whole process?
You're right. It can be a lot to take in. But good news, you don't got to go it alone. There's help out there. Immigration consultants, online forums where you can chat with others who are going through the same thing.
It's like having a GPS for immigration, guiding you through all the twists and turns.
Perfect analogy. Sometimes just hearing from others who made it through the CEC, that can be super encouraging. But remember, it's not just about filling out forms. It's about the human side of immigration.
So true. Moving to a new country is huge. Exciting, nerve-wracking, all those emotions mixed together.
Definitely. It's important to have people you can lean on both before you arrive and once you're in Canada.
Like that saying, it takes a village to raise a child. But it also takes a village to welcome someone new and help them feel at home.
Beautifully put. And Canada's got that welcoming spirit in its DNA. There are groups and communities all across the country that are there to help newcomers. They help you settle in, give you resources to succeed.
Knowing there's that support system waiting has got to be a huge comfort.
Oh yeah, it's like having a built-in family ready to welcome you. And remember, it's okay to ask for help. Reach out, connect with others who understand what you're going through.
We've covered so much ground today, from those NOC codes and tiers to becoming CRS score ninjas. Feels like we've unlocked some serious levels in the Canadian immigration game. But wait, there's more. In Part 3, we'll tackle some burning questions, bust some myths, and give you some final wisdom for this amazing journey.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back, adventurers. Ready for the grand finale of our Canadian Experience Class Deep Dive.
I'm excited to wrap up and tackle some burning questions and like
Yes,
those myths that always seem to pop up around the CEC.
perfect. Because, let's be honest, the immigration process can feel like you're going through a maze, blindfolded.
I know, right?
So let's shine a light on some common concerns. Like, I know people get really hung up on their CRS score.
Yeah.
They wonder if it's even worth applying if their score isn't, like, super high. What do you think?
It's a great question. I mean, the CRS can be a bit intimidating, right? You see those cutoff scores for some express entry draws.
Yeah, those numbers.
But the CRS is just one piece of the whole picture.
So it's not like a total deal breaker if you're not hitting 450 or whatever?
Not at all. Express entry draws they're dynamic,
Okay.
Those cutoff scores can change depending on what the job market needs are at the time and what kind of candidates are in the pool.
That makes sense. So even if your score isn't, like, in the stratosphere, there's still hope.
Absolutely. IRCC, that's Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. They look at your whole profile.
Right.
Not just your CRS score, your work experience, your education, language skills, adaptability, it all matters.
So they're looking for well-rounded people, not just a number.
Right.
Okay, but what about the job offer question? Do you absolutely need one to be eligible for the CEC?
That's another one of those misconceptions. While a job offer can give your CRX score a nice boost, it's not a must-have.
So there's hope for those who haven't landed their dream job in Canada yet.
Totally. You can still set up your express entry profile, get in that pool of candidates, and show potential employers what you've got.
Okay.
You never know. The perfect job might pop up while you're in the pool, or you might even get an invitation without a job offer at all.
Fingers crossed.
Right.
It's like taking a leap of faith, trusting that things will work out. Speaking of path, what happens if someone's worked in a bunch of different jobs under different NOC codes? Which one do they use for their CEC application?
Good one. The trick is to choose the NOC code that matches most of your skilled work experience in Canada.
Okay.
And remember, it's got to be in those eligible tier categories we talked about.
Right, right.
So it's not about picking the fanciest job title. It's about being accurate and honest about what you've done.
Okay, honesty is key.
Exactly. And if you're not sure which NOC code fits best, it's always smart to talk to an immigration expert.
Speaking of immigration experts, what's their role in this whole CEC thing? Are they essential, or can people do it all themselves?
It depends. Some people are comfortable doing it solo, especially if their situation is pretty straightforward.
The DIY champions.
Yeah. But for others, it might feel overwhelming, especially if their immigration history is a bit more complicated. An immigration consultant can help a lot.
It's like having a guide, leading you through the jungle of immigration paperwork.
Exactly. They can help you get all the right documents, make sure everything's filled out correctly, and even be your advocate if things get tricky.
So it's about, like, weighing the options. DIY to save money but maybe risk making mistakes, or invest in professional help for a smoother process.
Yeah, exactly. It's a personal choice. But if you're going the consultant route, do your research, make sure they're legit and licensed.
Always good advice. Okay, let's talk about the R-word rejection. What if someone's CEC application gets rejected? Is that it for their Canadian dream?
It's a bummer, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily the end. You have options. The key is to understand why it was rejected. That refusal letter from IRCC, it'll tell you the reasons, so you can see what needs fixing.
So it's like constructive criticism, a chance to learn and try again.
Exactly. Maybe it was something simple, like a missing document or a mistake on the application. Fix that, and you might be good to go.
There's always hope. But what if it's something bigger, like not meeting the eligibility criteria?
Well, even then, it's not the end of the world. Remember, Canada has lots of immigration programs.
Right.
The CEC might not have been the right fit, but there could be another pathway that's perfect for you.
It's like finding a different route to your destination, maybe one with even better scenery along the way.
Exactly. But before we wrap up, I got to emphasize one thing. Be honest. Through the whole process. Be upfront, give accurate info, and only use real documents.
Integrity is key.
Absolutely. Trying to cheat the system can have serious consequences. You could even get banned from entering Canada.
So play by the rules, build your application on honesty.
That's the best way to make sure your immigration journey goes smoothly.
Well, folks, we've reached the summit of our Canadian Experience Class Deep Dive. We've climbed the mountains of NOC codes, navigated the rivers of CRS points, and explored the vast landscapes of immigration possibilities.
It's been quite an adventure.
It has.
We hope you feel ready to take that next step in your Canadian adventure.
Absolutely. If you're eligible for the CEC, go for it. It's a fantastic way to make Canada your home.
And remember, whether it's the CEC or another route, do your research, plan carefully, and never give up on those dreams.
We're cheering for you every step of the way. Thanks for joining us on this epic deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep chasing those Canadian horizons.
See you next time.